I'm running for the office of State Superintendent of Public Instruction with a plan. My opponent, on the other hand, has not campaigned, he's not put up yard signs, he's not purchased TV ads. He expects people to vote for him because he's been in office for over 40 years and because everyone in the state of North Dakota knows his name. Now, let me just look at a couple things that we need to talk about in this state that I believe my opponent is failing to address. No Child Left Behind. It's a problem. It's a problem at the federal level, but it's also a problem in the way that it's being administered at our state level. We're giving a test in October that the results don't come back until May. North Dakota educators do not have the opportunity to adjust curriculum, teaching, instruction, and parents and children do not understand this test when it's given in that way. We're also trying to deal with property tax relief in North Dakota. Property taxes have really gone out of control. The candidates for governor are both trying to come up with plans and proposals. But at the end of the day, it's going to require leadership from this office to make sure that the schools are able to continue to operate and have an adequate amount of funding into the future. It's imperative that the person in this office play a leadership role in that conversation. We're also struggling with continuing declining enrollment, changes in curriculum, new ideas in research. All of these need to be communicated to the educators and the educating public in North Dakota. We're in a situation where property tax relief is imperative in North Dakota. We've gone far too long as property taxes have increased, in part because both the legislature and other policymakers in North Dakota have failed to address the issues of the three-legged stool, the sales tax, the income tax, and the property taxes issues effectively over the last 20-year period. I think that at the end of this legislative session, we're going to see property tax relief happen. The key ingredient to this is, will we set up a situation where school districts in North Dakota will continue to operate as they have in the past, assuming local control, or will we have a situation where the state takes over more and more of the control of local public schools by virtue of closing off the opportunity of local school districts to raise future revenues? That is a concern I have, and it requires leadership. Leadership coming from this office. I intend to be there at the table, if elected, to ensure that local school districts and local control continues to be a priority in North Dakota. Let me go on and talk a minute about wages. Educator wages in North Dakota really shouldn't be an issue, but it is. We continue to struggle with our ability to recruit, retain, and show respect for senior teachers in North Dakota. It's an issue that really has not been addressed well in the last 30 years. I would like to sit down with a group of people and have a serious conversation once and for all about what we're going to do about recruiting and retaining teachers in the future. This involves wages. It's a tough subject. There's lots of ideas out there. There's the old style, there's the new style, there's a conversation about salary schedules and merit pay. I think all of them must be placed someplace in the conversation, because at the end of the day, we need to have a situation where our schools and our kids receive the best quality education they can get, provided by the best quality teachers that we can recruit into the future. We also must remember, we must retain those we have, and we must show respect for those that have been here, serving our students well for many years. It's an important issue. It's time to take it on. I've proposed a plan. I call it Every Child Everywhere. That involves providing a quality education to every child regardless of where they live in North Dakota. For many years, the adults in North Dakota have been in this constant struggle to have a conversation about which schools should stay open, which schools should close, which schools should consolidate. I think that some of that will continue into the future, but we need to reduce that conversation load to the point where we are now conversing about providing quality education to kids regardless of where they live. If a child is eligible for and needs an alternative setting, then we need to provide it for them, whether it be in Wahpeton or Watford City. If a child needs an advanced class or a gifted and talented program and they live in rural North Dakota, then we must find ways to deliver. If children are creative and artistic and are able to deliver in those areas, we need to provide the education for them that delivers for them, regardless of where they live. This is going to require some conversation. We've begun a conversation about regional education associations. They've not gotten off to a very good foot. We need to push the stop button, roll the tape back, and start this conversation over again. They have merit, but we're not doing it right yet today. This takes leadership, something my opponent has failed to deliver repeatedly over the last 10 years. It's time. It's time definitely for someone with real ideas in real time to be in this office.
On the first part of the journey, I